Hi, everybody. This is Callie B. Elwayns here, and I'm here today with three amazing women who are part of the Bold and Visible community. And we're currently working together, doing some super exciting stuff, shifting into greater visibility, owning our voice, and really bringing our mission to the world. So I'm so excited to be with you all. I'm here with Tecca Thompson, Trudy Pelletier, and Karen Radella. I'm so excited to talk about what is so important about this moment in time, about standing forward with our voice in our personal lives, owning who we are, getting visible, but also in this greater stage of our life in what we're here to offer the world. And I just feel like right now is the moment. I feel like now is the moment for us to stand forward, to be seen and be fully who we are. And so many of us are already so accomplished. These women today who are with me in the space, you guys are all so accomplished already. And yet there is more you're yearning to bring forward. There's so much more for you to do. And so we're standing for each other to actually shift that and move into the full self we really are. So I can't wait to get started. I'd love to have you each tell us about yourself and tell us what's inspired you to become part of the community and join up with the Bold and Visible work concepts. So Tecca, can you start for us?
So like Callie said, I am Tecca Thompson, and for the past 30 years, I've been working in the area of juvenile corrections. Currently, I am a program director for an adolescent sexual health program where we service kids all over the state of Ohio. That's my day job, and what I am seeking to bring forth is a way to support women, and in particularly women of color, to help them bring their voices forward, very similar to the concept of bold and visible, through the work of storytelling and circle work, and those modalities, just helping women to explore their voices and bring them forward is kind of what I'm wanting to do. So what inspired me to be a part of this program is initially I was really drawn in by the monologue piece, the storytelling piece of it. I am telling my own stories, and I was just really attracted to that piece of it. But as I began to learn more about the somatics and the embodiment, so much more opened up, so much more richness as to why I wanted to be in this program. And I realized that I needed to become more visible with my vision and also my voice as well. So I got drawn in by the monologue, but I'm here because I need to do some work around elevating my own voice.
Amazing. Yes. We need to stand forward. Our mission requires us to be fully present, fully visible, and in our voice. That's so amazing, Tecca. Yeah, taking stories, helping women of color, come together through story, through circle. Love it. Amazing. Trudy.
Thank you, Callie. Tough act to follow, Tecca. My name is Trudy Pelletier. I'm in Calgary. I am 15 years in business for myself and a mother of 2 extraordinary human beings. My son Robbie just turned 30 and my daughter Alicia turned 27. And my mission, since, I don't know, I'm going to say early 20s, has been to give people personal power in the face of any circumstance, any situation, that they're not living their life at the effect of circumstances and others, that they really know their own power. And the arena that I do that in is twofold. One, most of my work is working with business families who are doing succession and continuity planning. And I help them do the planning around governance structures that guide that very complex and emotional journey. And then I help them resolve their toughest issues. So really It's about people being heard and seen and understood, and recognizing what they want and need as they create a new future. And with family, we have the strongest history. So there's lots of patterns in how we listen to family members that I alter and create newness with within family. And then the other piece of work is called Partnership on Purpose. And this is how men and women and people of all genders are wired differently, and how our instincts drive certain behaviors. And particularly as a result of the very important Me Too movement, there were some unintended consequences that gender started shifting and living into self-preservation, and what was missing was understanding. So that's the nature of my work. I knew nothing about Bold and Visible until I had my first conversation with you, Callie. And what inspired me to participate was when you talk about, foot on the gas and foot on the brake, the start stop, I really, really could relate. And then inside of our discovery conversation, you gave me some language that what I got to see is there's something in how I show up that I'm aware repels people. And so I'm here already transforming that, and really thrilled to be part of the Bold and Visible, your leadership, Callie, and then the community like Karen and Tecca, part of my peer group, and Nav, just extraordinary women in the cohort.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Trudy. Yeah, again, wow. I'm just so, I'm blown away by the women who are in this group. What you're up to and what you stand for is so important. I love all of it. And again, bringing forward your true sovereign self, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. Karen.
Yeah, I just want to say I just got a text from Tecca. She said the power's out.
Okay.
So she'll be back as soon as she can.
Good.
Yeah, so to tell you a little bit about myself, let me get this light off my forehead. I am a sister, a mother. I have a 26-year-old daughter. I'm a friend, and I was a spouse, but I recently lost my husband. So now I'm a member of the W Club. Can't even say the word. Oh, and I'm a psychologist, and I've been in practice for the past 30 years. I've worked with all populations, whether it be children, adolescents, adults, all disorders, and it's been just a wonderful experience for me. I found Bold and Visible. I was on Facebook, and up popped this little, I guess, class invite about a free workshop that Callie was doing, and it really intrigued me. One, at the time, because I don't consider myself bold, but I did consider myself very, very invisible. I had lost my voice over this passing of my husband. And so I thought, well, this is really intriguing me, because I have never really been drawn to the somatic work. It is a modality of working with people in the psychological field, but it just never really appealed to me. And so I thought, well, I'm going to take this workshop and see what this is all about. So I took the workshop. I was really intrigued. And I think it would be it was kind of more on a personal level, like, wow, if this is something that could open me up, I'm willing to do anything to have that. So I signed up for the class, and I guess Callie will go into more specifics about it, but that's kind of my story.
Amazing, Karen. Yeah. Just honoring that you came forward.
Yeah.
So what I get from this, honestly, from all of you, is this huge commitment towards going to the next step in your life, like really taking your life on. You're all very committed to that. We talk about radical self-responsibility in this work. And that's something that you model so well, is, okay, we're not going to look to the outside world for our solutions. Right. So the context or the umbrella of our work is really inside of that, because we have so much place we can go, being, when we have the power to shift ourselves. So I'm so curious. Let's just talk about what's opening up for you. What surprised you? You know, one of the things is, again, you know, working with women like yourself, women of stature, that have done an incredible amount of work, right? Like, personal development, you know, Karen, you are a psychologist, spiritual development. I mean, if we actually stacked up all the work we've done over the years,
Right.
right? It's huge. So I'm curious though, what for you is different about this? Like, what can help you? I always talk about the last kind of 5%. We've done all this work, our career too, and all our credentials and our life experience and our all of that, and we're here now. What's different for you that can help you, do you feel, get across that last sort of 5%? Who'd like to go first?
Oh, I think the thing for me, and one of my big draws to taking this class is my husband had died unexpectedly and tragically, and I witnessed that. And I thought, if this somatics work could help my trauma of all of that, that would just be amazing. I mean, because you can talk about it, you can, you know, write about it and all of that, but that just wasn't getting it. So when Callie was talking about her course and said, like, this gets the last 5%, that piece that you just can't quite get, I thought, okay, I got to do it. I got to try it out. And it's working.
So you're experiencing some shifts and some changes. Can you talk just a little bit about that, Karen?
Yeah, I think the biggest change has been in doing the somatics and releasing the trauma. And it kind of just has a mind of its own. So it's not something I have to think about or whatever. It's just come out, like a lot of crying. And the benefits have just been, I just feel open. Before I was kind of trapped in a box that had like chains all around it, all locked up. And I feel like I've been free. And it's been an amazing journey.
I think it's so interesting, right, you guys, because I mean, Karen, I mean, you're a brilliant psychologist. And so you have all these tools. But so this is just one last little bit where we need to incorporate, you know, I talk about incorporating these resources that are in our body. And it is very much, you know, we are work is trauma informed, but it's a little, it's different, right? It's different.
Very different.
That's so amazing, Karen. Trudy, what's it for you? What have you been finding?
Oh my goodness. I like the shifts are on so many levels. So I'll start first physically. I gave up running about 4 years ago. Just, you know, inside of honoring my body, it's like, I'm never going to run again. And 2 weeks of doing the somatic moves, I felt this energy and this surge and this strength that I believe I'm going to run again. And I'm not yet running, but I can say that on the inside, I feel like my body has opened up. Places where I was so contracted or struggling with some compression in my right hip and my thorax. It's just like physically, and we're what, 2 months into the program? So physically, I feel like, and I like your description, Karen, like there were chains. It was like that. I feel open. I feel like I have space on the inside, and there's been a softening. So this is both physically and now emotionally, spiritually, mentally. There's, and that's the only word that I have to describe. And I'm so surprised at my experience of myself being with people, the caring and compassion and kindness and love and space for them to be how they are. There's a softness that just is welcoming life as it is, where my pattern was to push, you know, I would say force, drive. I'm all about action. And that hasn't changed. And it has changed inside of this softness and opening that I am so enjoying.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so amazing.
that's the best way. And I feel like rather than doing and doing and doing, which I'm really developed at, there's a shift, and this is part of my intention of magnetizing opportunities and being more the attractor
Mhm.
of opportunities and people and situations in my life versus, again, driving, and making it happen. So yeah, those are a couple of things that I'm delighted by. And so um, surprised. And even in moments, it's like there's no language for what I'm experiencing, and just going with it. So through some of the somatic floor practice, there's been, some emotion release. Uh, yeah, on so many levels. So that's the best way I can articulate what I'm delighted and experiencing.
You're radiating. You're radiating. And really it brings up the sense of how, first of all, enjoying our own skin, right? Being comfortable, having space. But also from here, what can we do in the world? What can we magnetize? How can we stand for it? It's so awesome what's available, but also just relaxing and enjoying ourselves a little more and being ourself fully expressed, right? So awesome. Love it, Trudy.
Yeah.
You're just talking about, what's kind of coming up for us, what's shifting, and what's surprised us inside of this so far.
Okay.
Welcome
Okay.
back, by the way.
Thank you. There's a pretty bad storm going on here. Wow, so much is coming up for me. But first, before I start on me, I have to talk about these amazing women that I have the opportunity to be in a peer group with. And you're seeing what I see every week in our peer group. First of all, Karen is just like it's so beautiful, just like she's just blossoming and opening up. And then I love to hear Trudy talk about her transformation, because the more she talks about it, the more she glows. And you said it, she's radiant today, and you just seen it happen right in front of you. She just lit up. And so it's just really been an amazing time to spend with these women in my peer group that I have. So much has been opening up for me as well. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the somatic practice, which from the very beginning I love, because it was just giving me an opportunity to say, I am going to definitely dedicate and set this time aside as a sacred practice for myself. So I became very intimate with the somatics practice. It has opened up so much for me emotionally, but also physically. It's very pleasurable. And I probably do somatics when I feel the need to do it. So oftentimes I may be doing it more than twice a day, and dedicating one of the practices just sheerly for the pleasure of how it makes my body feel. So really enjoying the somatics practice. Part of the best thing of the program to me is that practice. But in terms of the other work that we're doing, I've had this really interesting shift, and I'm so glad for the opportunity to talk about it. I'm having an opportunity to follow a thread through all three phases of the program that is very surprising to me. Initially, when I started doing this embodiment work around my voice, I thought the narrative that I was telling myself was that a part of my voice was kind of squashed down by someone else. But doing the work, what I found out at a very young age, that I had made a decision not to have a voice or to live out loud. And we talk about our elements in this program, and I'm finding that I'm a lot of fire. And I decided purposely not to be fire in the world, because one, didn't think that I could hold it. I couldn't maintain it. This was a very young age. And also, I didn't want people to be mad at me because I was big. So I made a decision, and this is very surprising to me because I was really believing this, almost like I had two narratives going on at the same time. And I wasn't aware of this, fire person that I really am. And I was just really focused on this shrunk down person that I had become. And so that started in the first phase of the program. In the second phase of the program, it just became more clear to me that I'm definitely a lot of fire, right? I'm having an opportunity to do the third phase of the program about connection. And this is where the most interesting shift came up, which is I had been perceiving myself to be not enough. I just could not figure this self out, but people are perceiving me as you got your stuff together. You don't need any help. Whereas I'm thinking like, I need a mentor. I need these things from people, but they were perceiving me as I didn't need it. And I did not realize I was projecting my energy that way because I was in that sunk down narrative. And so I've been feeling really disconnected from people. So I just think, and this is brand new, like this just came up for me last night, and I was just like mind blowing that I was perceiving myself so differently than the energy that I was putting out in the world. Like I literally was telling people, I don't need your help. I got this together, but actually craving for more connection. And then with that being said, I want to say that, Callie, you say this all the time, that we're setting up somatic safety for ourselves. And that's exactly what happened as I watched this thread unfold. I don't really think I would have been able to understand what was happening if this fire person came at the beginning, because I was so entrenched in that other narrative of me being shrunk down, that if we hadn't created this container of safety and understanding, I don't think that the shift in the awareness would have been as great. So.
Amazing. Yeah, beautiful. And Tecca, like how you explain it. So, and you're not just understanding this from your mind, right? This is not just an intellectual thing. So because of somatic, so for anyone who doesn't understand the word somatic, it's including our whole body, our nervous system in the process of all the work we do. We actually include the body in a unique way where it can actually sink in. But that's amazing. I'd love to hear Trudy and Karen, like, what's your experience around this part of the thread that you're taking through from like the embodiment centers?
So the somatic safety within, so being able to relax my own nervous system when I had no idea how, I mean, it was running on overdrive, probably 24 hours a day, right? So the experience, as I said earlier, of softening, I believe is coming from creating this somatic safety. And from that, like really just being free to be much more myself. And I don't know who she is really yet. I was away last weekend and some things showed up inside of, I was away in Banff, and some things showed up that I was not willing to step over. And I believe the old Trudy would have stepped over it, or maybe even squashed some of that authentic need that I had. And it was really a discovery in the moment of, this doesn't work for me. And being able to honor myself and honor the people that I was with at the same time, I believe came from having that somatic safety, that internal relaxation to actually know what it was that I wanted and needed, and then, expressed.
Amazing. And are you finding any, Tecca talked about this fire that she found was locked up. It's been urged. She is so much fire. It's so much fun. I can't wait till it's totally out there. Because Tecca, is going to ignite the world with her fire. But have you found anything back in that sort of transcend and include space around who Trudy is?
Well, so I felt very familiar with everything except for the element air. And in fact, I would say that I was quite judgmental around people who are more of the air element, right? And as I'm playing with it and taking it on, there is a new dimension of myself that's emerging. I mean, someone a couple of weeks ago said, "You're quite funny." And I have never in my life ever been referred to as funny. So like really cool.
Right, because Trudy's like on a mission. She's really, been serious and stoic and warrior-like.
Very warrior-like, and it's it's transforming, and not in a way that I feel is threatening me. I think that's a part of what's unique is it doesn't occur as a threat to my identity and to my patterns. And inside of that, there's just so much freedom and so much possibility. Like I really, and I think I said this in class yesterday, I mean, intellectually and maybe even spiritually, I would say, I believe I'm unlimited, life is unlimited. I have all kinds of possibilities. I'm actually experiencing that through the three phases, as you called it, Tecca, as like an authentic reality. It's so, and again, it's almost hard to articulate that experience, but I really am experiencing the world is my oyster, and I have so much choice and so much opportunity, and it's embodied, not just in my head and in my thinking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that you've been saying it's so hard to describe it, right? Because it is hard to describe what we're doing. And what you're explaining here is this, we're not adding anything outside of what we already have. We're dropping into, let go the clouds that are just clouding over, and transcend and include and love those patterns, but let them dissolve to open to this Trudy who happens to have more. She's quite funny, and Tecca's quite fiery. I love it. And it is such an embodied, almost at a cellular level, that we have hard time to say what it's about. Partly that's what's exciting about having you guys in the room, because it's hard for me even to describe. People have to experience it. That's why I love bringing in people into workshops, for example, to experience it and get a flavor.
I'll just add, then give Karen an opportunity here to add as well. Yesterday, the word that came up was, I feel like I am awakening to my resources. I am awakening to my authentic self. I am awakening to, there's being receptive. I have a whole page that I wrote yesterday that just emerged. And, the expansion and the receptivity is just, awakening to it all is really, I think, the best way to articulate it for me.
I love it. Awesome, Trudy. Awesome. Karen.
Yeah, I was thinking about how do I even describe to someone who doesn't know anything about somatics in this course, what we're doing? Because it's kind of abstract, right? Like, well, what do you mean you do somatics? So I guess I would say, and I know, Callie, you don't call them exercises, but we do movements on the floor, different movements that open up a lot of things in your body, things that you're not even expecting, and things that is not conscious and you're not controlling it. So that in itself has been a really wild experience. It's pretty cool, right? Like, wow, this is so awesome. And I think coming into the course, again, why I wanted to take the class is I felt like I was drowning and I was suffocating, and the real me was so far gone that I didn't know if I could ever tap into her again. So, and And I think my narrative that came out has been around like what I have to say is not important. People don't really want to hear what I have to say. So instead of talking, I can just be quiet, right? And kind of just glide through life. And it's so ironic because as a psychologist, what am I doing all day? I'm talking to people, and I don't have a problem professionally talking with people. It was just more in the personal life. So it's been, for me, it's just been such an amazing experience. So that's kind of like on the body level. There's so many different things that we do. Journaling, we do what I would call, like, sort of from a psychological perspective, is like these imagery experiences, where Callie leads us through different exercises and things just come to you. Again, very unconscious, making the unconscious conscious. So that's been really cool and fun. And I think what I'm finding is that the real me is coming out, and I'm willing to share that real me with others. And my sense of humor is coming back, and playfulness. So yeah, it's been good.
So awesome. Yeah, I feel your playfulness, and I feel you taking up more space. It's so what you just said, Karen, is so important, right? And I love your guys' perspective on this, because part of standing in who we really are, letting go finally, right? The patterns that are just running at that, lower brain level, the reflexes, we love them. We love that part of ourselves, but we're ready to let it go. We're ready to come forward, right? And part of the beauty of it is doing it in a deep, safe container with other women who are willing to get down and do the work, be vulnerable, share the space. It's a collective healing and witness. And it's not just, we're moving, so we're propelling each other forward. We're going to leverage each other into the next thing. So, and we're moving towards our story and the stage of our life here in the container of the program. But it's just, can you guys talk about the container and the community and how it's, we do a lot of sharing, right? And the sharing is so important. Tecca, do you want to share about, you did already share about the peer group and acknowledge how amazing that is, but why is it important to do this work together as women to you, Tecca?
I think our community as a whole, because what happens is when someone is sharing, there's such deep learning in what other people are going through. Again, because we kind of touched on it a little bit. It's hard to explain, and sometimes it's hard to put it into words. But if someone is having a really similar experience, or they're sharing something that kind of helps you put words to what's happening to yourself within this process, it just makes the learning so much more deeper. And I'm just really enjoying being around the women in our community, because everyone is such a I was going to say badass, but I'll just say there are so many badass women in our community, and it's very humbling to see that we all kind of have these struggles in the same area. So it's very affirming that we all are kind of experiencing some of the same things, but also very inspiring to see us coming up and rising up together. So that's kind of my take on it. And I also wanted to say that one thing that's coming up for me, and I forgot to mention, is this creativity that came out in the EBC2 for me. As I was doing these practices, this word creativity kept coming up, and I started to draw these cute little drawings of what was happening to me in this process. And it's been quite helpful for me to kind of draw out the experience as opposed to journaling, because it's so hard to really explain some of the things that are occurring. So it was easy to kind of draw them, and it's been really fun and also quite surprising to me as well. So just wanted to add that in because I forgot when I did my other share. So, and I think that was very well received by the community as well. We have some other women drawing now too, because they found that was helpful for them too.
Well, that's kind of part of it, right? I mean, we're sharing, we're actually co-creating in the space. And Tecca, your gift and your art was so inspiring to people, and we learn from each other. It's this dynamic, it's a dynamic, but it's an evolutionary place, right? We're not at this superficial level. We're like deep. We're deep. What do you think, Trudy?
Yeah, so the program is called Bold and Visible, and my experience of, the community is having people witness me, and me have the privilege and honor of witnessing others as they, have things unfold and discover. It has been part of what propels being bold, diving in and doing the work. And creating the internal somatic safety, and then being in the community where it is just safe to be however we are, share, authentically what's happening, I think is a really important part of the process, because it deepens the learning. So it's been extraordinary, and very accomplished people, very accomplished women in so many different ways, personally and professionally, right? Beautiful families, all of that. And there's this, as you say, Callie, this chronic invisibility. And we all have our own spin and version of that. And so to uncover that together and create something new together, it's been really important. And it's interesting. So for me personally, when there's an email or there's an opening saying, "Hey, sisters," well, I found that I resisted. There was this like almost a visceral reaction in my body that it surprises me, and it's changing. It's not completely dissolved. And just being curious about what was that resistance, and not from a place of figuring it out, but just really being curious. Oh, wow, there's a visceral resistance to being called a sister, and being curious about it, and being supported to be curious is just been honoring. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Because we can be in. We're coming out of isolation. Many of us are so accomplished. We can be very go it alone. And by the way, and we can be very looking great, accomplishing a lot, and still in a chronic invisibility pattern, right?
Yes.
See, Karen.
Yeah, that's funny, Trudy, how you refer to the sister thing. When I saw that at first, I was like, sisters? Like, what the heck is that? We don't even know each other. How can you say we're sisters? Right? And kind of like, I highly doubt we'll ever be sisters, but okay, I'll just go with it. But the thing that's really hard to describe is, so you're put into a peer group. There's 4 people in our group. And one of the people in our group said, well, let's do a WhatsApp, because then we can have accountability for our homework. And I was like, what's this WhatsApp? What are we going to do? Okay, right. Yeah, just go with it. Go with the flow. And I have to say that our peer group is so awesome. We meet once a week for about an hour on Zoom. And everyone is just a safe place. Everybody's very open. We can share our struggles. You show up, whatever state you're in, whether you're put together, messed up, whatever. So that's been really cool. And then our group is really active. So we will send each other texts or ask about the homework or share our homework, share what's happening. And I think that that's been a huge part of all of our journeys, right? Is just being able to share this with people who are involved and get it, right? So that's been awesome. And the larger group, which we have classes a lot on Saturdays and sometimes Mondays, we do a voice class. It's just an amazing experience with unbelievable women. And so I can't speak highly enough about just this experience that we're having.
So amazing. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of holy shit moments.
Yeah.
right? Like it's not, we're not wasting our time. We're down in it. We're doing the thing. We're really doing it. And you know, amazing stuff. I can't wait to talk to you guys at the end of the program. You know, after our virtual story summit, right? And we're standing, because we are going to be crafting and deeply embodying, you know, a story that reflects the transformation we're here to bring forward in the world. And partly doing that story, we actually find any last bits of, you know, anything that's holding us back, and we literally in the body, the voice, let that go, and all of a sudden we're like, oh my goodness, hi, here I am. This is right. It's so exciting, so exciting. So we're going to do this again. We'll have now from the peer group here, but I'm just you know, in service to anyone who's interested in joining the community, coming out to the free workshop, you know, what would you say to them? What would you say to a woman who's yearning to, who's done all the work in her life, she's accomplished, she has more to give, foot on the gas, foot on the brake, doesn't really know how, you know, doesn't seem to fully be standing for it, owning it? What would you say to her, Tecca?
I think I would say to her is, you need to come. Just trust us. Come enjoy this. You deserve it, actually, because I just come from a space that this was something for me, because I've worked so hard in my life, and it was just an opportunity to create that space. So I would tell her, come and sit and enjoy yourself, and you will learn a lot about yourself and have a lot of fun while you're doing it. Just come on. That's what I would say. Just come on.
Awesome. Trudy.
Well, I did not know what I was signing up for. And what I do know is my experience of my intuition is this little pull in my heart. And the pull was, do it. And so I would say to you, you don't know what you don't know. You know, I have an experience that I have, a traumatic experience from childhood that I've unpacked 1,000 different ways. And I had never considered how that impacted my voice. And so the discoveries, what I didn't know was, you know, was holding me back, I'm freeing myself. And Callie, you talked about that last 5%, and I can say, I didn't believe you. I didn't believe that it will ever be complete. And I do now. I absolutely, it's a reality. I'm not stuck with anything. So what I would say to you is, one, if you don't know what you're stuck with, that's even a bigger reason for you to be here, because you don't need to know what you're stuck with. It will unfold. And yes, come play. It's an invitation to become more of your authentic self in a way that the world needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. The world needs you. Come.
Yeah.
Come,
The world needs you to
yourself.
come. Absolutely. Yes. Beautiful. Karen.
Yeah, I think what I would say is just do it. Kind of put your brain aside and the intellectual part of you, just kind of put that aside. And if this is tugging at your heart, if something is saying, oh, this might be really interesting, just do it. You won't regret it.
Beautiful. Did we do anything really wacky, like really crazy? No. I'm waiting for you to say,
crazy.
Now you're thinking about it. Let's see.
The reason why I paused is because sometimes you may be doing an exercise and you're thinking in your head, like, what in the world is this? But there's nothing that's crazy, or Callie always likes to say it's not woo-woo. There's nothing like that at all. But at the beginning, you'll hear trust the process. And that is the best advice. Just trust the process. And things, like Trudy said, will just start to unfold so naturally and so beautifully for you. So,
yeah, amazing. And this is really science-based. It's based in our biology. It's not based in some weird cult-like thing. That's why it works, right? So that's why I'm so convinced. And That's why I can bring women like you on and know, it's going to work. If you commit to do it, it will work. And I can still be confident in that. Otherwise, I'd be really scared if it was some strange thing, because, I'm surrounded, by the way, with women in this group who are amazing. And I'm bringing in women at the level that I want to surround myself with. And, so I'm also very challenged to step forward and be 100% myself, right? This is a great way to keep me in the work. I do the work. I do the work myself. All right, well, I just want to say thank you so much. This is a real generous thing for you to do, to come and have this discussion today. And so I just want to honor that, you're coming forward. This is kind of what we're working with this week, is around supporting each other fundamentally, right? How do we ask for what we need in a way that's not sticky? And so I just want to say thank you for being here. And I can't wait to be in the workshop, and also to see us across the threshold.
Cool. Thank you. It's been fun. Lovely to be with you, ladies.